go. Good morning, friends. Welcome in. It's another Sunday. It's a Sunday where I actually am totally awake. For sure, for sure. And I still got some crochet to do, although we are getting very, very close to being blanket complete. Just a second. Cat here. Good morning, Kitsune, and good morning, Kite. Having the ducks spawn in feels weird. I mean, that's the game. That's how ducks work. But yes, good morning. Welcome in. So there will be a D&D recap today. Theoretically. So I sat out D&D yesterday on account of a migraine. So Cara is planning to come in and guest star to do our recap for us. That said, Cara's still asleep. So I may need to go, like, poke her at some point. But theoretically, that is the plan. Could have sworn they normally spawn in the big funnel thing. Nope, they just appear out of thin air. I also have the option of trying to interpret Kite's notes. That is true. So there's a lot of blanket here. It's getting... I'm glad I'm almost done with it. I almost didn't work on it during stream today. I almost pivoted to something else because it is getting to be so big. It's getting actually really difficult to work on it in this chair. Because normally if I'm on the couch working on it, where I normally am, I can kind of like spread it out on either side of me, like across the whole couch cushions. As Kite can attest, because while I was working on it, while they were visiting week before last, I just kind of had it encroaching into their lap. Yeah, unless there's a Kite in the way. Exactly. But yes, blanket large. It is actually quite close to done. So you can see here a little bit on the back. The crest of love is coming along. I've only got the top bits to do there. If we pull over to this side, again, you can see it through the back. The crest of friendship is also coming along quite nicely. I've only got the little bit to do at the top. We're at like 9 or 10 rows until completeness, which is ridiculous. Cannot believe we're that close to being done. So we are working on it today. Despite my struggles, we'll see how it goes. Despite my struggles, despite the camera struggles, poor camera just doesn't know what to do with black yarn. It's fine. But yes, hopefully everybody is having a good week, has been having a good week. Apologies for the lack of stream last week. It was my very last day of vacation, and I was just like, you know what? I just kind of want to take a nap and vibe rather than try to wrangle blanket to stream. So that's what we did. But I'm here today, and like I said, theoretically, there's a D&D recap. So, kind of back to business as usual. Okay, so I'm awake. My finger's apparently not awake. I mean, that seems normal. Break out the caffeinated crocheting gloves. Oh goodness. First off, I'm not even in frame. Second off, caffeine directly through the skin. I'm sure that's probably fine. I'm sure that's probably a very safe and tested method. Caffeine patches are a thing. I think. I mean, the principle is sound. Whether or not it's wise is a different matter. Yes, Kite got to see and touch Blanket in person. He is indeed large and thick and comfy. Probably have to inject it into the caffeine system. You mean the blood system? Maybe. Again, I'm pretty sure. See, now I'm doubting myself, because, like, so nicotine patches are a thing, and, like, hormone patches are a thing. And I'm sure I've, like, seen caffeine patches, but now I'm wondering if that was, like, in fiction. But you'd think it would be a similar principle, right? Transdermal caffeine patches do exist. Okay, cool. I'm not completely losing my mind. Now again, whether or not it's a good idea is a different matter. aren't cool enough for caffeine patches. I guess I'll just drink mine. God intended. But it's true, we aren't cool enough. You're right. Or it starts becoming challenging. I have space on this side of me where I can like flop blanket over the arm of the chair. I have less space on this side of me. So as I'm like moving the blanket over in this direction, it gets more difficult to like cram it into the small amount of space. But this is fine. It's fine. Oh, I think I hear movement. Cara may have awakened. I mean, you're not far off, kids. You're certainly not far off. Or rather, I know it's right. I think this is where I dropped them. If not, it's... Come on. Oh, hey, Kite. So apparently that storm on Canada Day was they're calling it a 1 in a 200-year storm. Apparently parts of the city got 167 millimeters of rain. Heck of a lot of rain to fall in one afternoon. For anyone more used to Imperial, that's over a foot of rain. Or almost a foot of rain. Somewhere in there. I forget the exact centimeters to inches conversion. But roughly a foot of rain. About half a foot? Maybe. It was a lot of rain. Ooh, does HopeBot do that? HopeBot must do millimeters to inches. Oh, a foot is 297. Oh, that's more millimeters than I thought. Okay, so roughly 6 inches then. It was 167 millimeters of rain. Some parts of the city got. Okay, there we go. Yeah, 6.5 inches. So not a foot of rain, but still a lot of rain to get in one afternoon. But yeah, while Kide was here visiting, we, of course, made Canada Day plans because they were visiting over Canada Day. So we went over to our friend's place for like board games and barbecue, and Luckily, we got there before the rain started because there was just this colossal rainstorm. And yeah, apparently a once in a 200-year storm. There was flooding in a lot of parts of the city. A lot of people's basements got flooded out. And of course all the fireworks and stuff got canceled because of the giant storm. But it's alright, we still had fun. Yeah, it was wild. I've never seen a storm like that here. Which I guess makes sense, because I haven't lived here for 200 years. Okay. Successfully flipped a thing. And I mention this because the storm will play into a story about this week that I will tell later. Cara and I have had an interesting week. We'll get into that after the D&D recap, because I'm sure Cara will have input. It's been an interesting week. Not necessarily a bad week, just it's been a real interesting week. Excuse me, laptop screen. Did not say you could go into sleep mode. That for chat and also crochet pattern. Low. 1, 2. Good morning, Randus. So theoretically, I sat out D&D yesterday. Cara was planning to join us for the recap, but I think she's still asleep. I thought I heard movement, but I have not heard any further movement. Sleep is good, it's true, so we may just need to push recap back a bit, rather than having it be roughly an hour after we start. If she's still asleep, then clearly she needs... I'm not gonna wake her up. Are we back in the old duck pool? We are. I figure it's a good summer themed one. Move back to the outer space one in a while. Or to the winter one. You know, I figured a little variety couldn't hurt. Keep things a little interesting. Aha, now I definitely hear Cara movement. During she just slammed the medicine cabinet closed. Because that's directly on the other side of the wall that's next to me, so I always hear that. Yeah, it's right beside the microphone. Yep. The door is on springs, so you have to like deliberately close it quietly if you want to close it quietly. Yeah, that was the medicine cabinet door. Yep, that's what that is. I don't think she realizes how loud it is in here. Does it? It's fine. Direction. D&D recap will be slightly delayed. We will start that whenever Cara feels up to it. I think she's gone downstairs to make coffee. Please stand by.
Yes.
Oh, you're on time.
Coffee is brewing.
Fair.
I woke up 10 minutes ago.
I know, we could hear it. The medicine cabinet is extremely loud when you close it because the microphone is right there.
Ah.
And the medicine cabinet is right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Brought you a muffin.
I was actually gonna ask you to bring me a muffin because I am surprisingly hungry.
Uh-huh.
Good morning.
Kupo.
You good?
Kupo.
You good? Mm-hmm. Don't look at me.
The real answer is I woke up at like 7 in the morning to use the bathroom, was awake for a little bit, and then sleep.
Ah.
8 a.m. So, sleepus interruptus?
Sure.
Was blank.
Large.
That sure is.
Difficult to work with in this chair, but we are doing our best.
Gracious. So close to being done. You're almost free.
I am.
Well, you're almost free of one with a deadline.
Yes. And I'm gonna be a crazy person and make a second one because I also want to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
But the second one will not have a deadline.
Nope. We'll see it someday.
I'm just gonna be smart and move the blanket before I eat my muffin.
Yeah. Looks like my levels are good and people can hear me okay.
Yeah. Most likely.
Future cat.
Randa says you are heard well.
Yay! Who's present from D&D right now?
Randus and Kite.
Good, they can help fill in any gaps, because I don't usually. 11?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's close enough to 11. Okay, so, as people may have heard, SJ was not feeling well and sat out on D&D. However, I was good to go. Hello, I'm your special Kupo guest. And today is the Glint Special.
Hey, if you wouldn't mind DMing me a direct link. I always forget how to navigate to your notes. Also, Cara cannot see my screen, but I can also read off the notes, so.
I mean, I could trade places with you for that. But you can keep, but then you can keep working while we talk if you.
I mean, we could do something amazing. You could sit here so that you can see the notes. I could go make the coffee.
That's so weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that. I remember most of what happened, but I guarantee a few will elude me. It kind of really was the Glint Special yesterday, though.
Ooh. Extremely comprehensive notes, Kite. Goodness. Okay. I will move my camera slightly. and trade places with Cara so that she can have access to the notes, and I'm gonna go make coffee.
Mm-hmm. Very grateful for coffee.
Be careful.
Legitimately do not know where I went. Please help me wake up.
I was gonna say you can. And if you need to, just watch the blessings. I do.
There, we have friend. All my jigglies are in the next room, so today I hold the stupid son. Oh, bless, thank you. Yes, friend. Oop. Okay, so previously yesterday on our adventure, on our deranged adventures, so we left off at the windmill, comforting Droop, who is having a bad time. There's some back and forth with Droop. Poor Droop doesn't totally want to leave the windmill because he promised to rebuild it. And he promised, but after a very, very low DC, very low threshold persuasion roll, between Glint and Basil talking to Droop, he agrees to go with them instead of staying here. As a matter of fact, you know, we're talking to Droop. We're like, Droop, it's not safe here. It's okay. You can come back later. We're gonna go to Wave Echo Cave, and there are like friends of ours there who will help. Like, it'll be safer there right now. And it comes around to Droop basically reframing it in his head after we pass our persuasion rolls to Droop, go to Wave Echo Cave, go with you, and maybe Droop find more people to help rebuild. At which point Basil is just like, leans over to Glint and is just like, that was my idea. He just needed to reframe it, right? Yes, correct, Basil. However, we do still want to investigate the town before we leave the area and try and discern what's going on, if the people are in immediate danger, all that good stuff. So, above table, SJ was out and Zvother was out. So, one, we volunteer Bram to stay behind with Droop and make sure he's, stay with him and make sure he's safe. Also, we're gonna be real. Bram is real bad at investigation and perception. Droop is in charge. All idea are Droop ideas. So we're like, okay, so Bram is gonna stay here with you and make sure you're safe and all that stuff. And Droop looks at Bram's shiny new hammer, warhammer, and kind of goes, you could nail so many nails, but you could hammer so many nails with that. And it's just like, okay, we will do some work in the meantime. Fortunately, Bram is able to redirect to maybe not so much doing the hammering as some of the heavy lifting around the area that needs to be done while we're out. Although Droop does hop on his back and start attempting to direct. Balar is also suffering levels of exhaustion at this point. So we tag Phalar to stay behind as well, and Elrad takes over for Bother with Erendiao for the session, just so that, Phalar gets to rest and Elrad gets to play. So with Droop safe and a couple of party members being left behind, we opt to head in via Alderley Farm, the Alderley Farm field, kind of on the southeast of town, because we are concerned. Glint is extra. I think we're all a little extra concerned about Carp because one, he had the Sending Stone, and two, he's a little kid, and with the way people have been behaving, little kids typically need someone to look after them and feed them and make sure that they're okay. So there's a little bit of extra concern there for the wee one. On the way in, we encounter his mother, Colleen, and she is harvesting imaginary vegetables. She asks, we try to have a conversation with her, and she's very out of it, but she asks us to avoid the almost ready lettuces while she collects the carrots, which is not usually a pair of vegetables you harvest at the same time, and Light is aware of this on account of, growing up in a monastery where they do a lot of growing and harvesting of their own vegetables. So that was super weird. She also doesn't seem to recognize or remember us. She's treating us like strangers. Light wisely is able to determine through some careful questioning that she isn't aware of where Carp is, which is her son, although she is like, oh, he should be out here harvesting with me, and she's aware of the current date, which means that they're not just trapped in yeah, I know, Kits, Light is wise. What Light is not always smart. Light is learning about the world. Light had to learn about money. Anyway, so we've kind of ruled out the possibility of their memories being trapped at a specific point in time. However, there is also Light does one more thing, which is to try and kind of Light to try and kind of get any kind of response. Where is it? Uh-oh. There it is. Trying to just get a response from her, or to try and get her kind of snap out of it, puts on a mask that Colleen had given them. She had originally made it for her husband, who died some years ago. And her response to seeing that mask is, I gave my husband one just like that. He should be returning any day soon. So she's not in this state. She's not aware that he has passed. Yeah, it's... Oh. I have to say, I'm one of those people who gets very, strung up with sort of like psychological or suspense horror. And this whole situation was kind of building that for me. I'm just waiting for something to drop, so, good job, Brandis. You made me very tense for this entire session. So we deem that we have gotten all we're going to get out of Colleen, and she is not in immediate danger. So we do go into the farm, to check on Carp and see if he's got the Sending Stone. It's kind of the build as we go through Kuma. For me, it's like a sort of, it's kind of like like I said, kind of like the suspense of it gets under my skin. Like, I'm almost kind of waiting for it to turn into, and then they all attack us and we have to decide what to do. Which didn't happen, but like it has that feel to it. Yeah, we're just in the start of it. Na 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 na. Yeah, it got very tense. So we go into the farm to check on Carp because, as we said, he was the last person we know who had the sending stone, and he's little. We're kind of worried about him. As we're heading for the farm, despite our conversation of we should probably stick together because this is super weird and we can like check each other if any of us start like spacing out. Basil is like, bye, I'm gonna go check something out, and just peels off and turns invisible, and heads for the Shrine of Timora in town. Although we have activated Arandiau's kind of like telepathic thing, so we can all speak to Arandiau, and Glint is also able to telepathically speak with anyone she can see, so she's, we're still trying to kind of keep quiet in conversation between ourselves in that regard.
Coffee for you. Quack coffee?
Quack coffee?
Well, it's not Kupo coffee because you didn't make it.
It's quack coffee. You're the land division delivery chocobo.
Yeah.
You also have something on the back of your hand. I think it's dishwasher residue.
Oh, yeah.
Kids is like, an answer to my question. Quack coffee. So you may not have caught or.
I'm just.
Okay. So, we walk in on Carp making breakfast. He is just slapping a bag of flour repeatedly in the kitchen. So he responds to us and things immediately slips his mind kind of deal. We're like, what you doing, buddy? And he's like, making breakfast. And anytime we kind of try to derail him, he goes back to, kind of drifts back to, oh, I should make breakfast, and returns to the bag of flour. Flint even attempts to, like, snap him out of it with, hey, buddy, how's your mom? How's it going trying to get her to turn you into a T-Rex? And he goes, what's a T-Rex? Oh, I should make breakfast.
Oh.
At which point Glinda's like, oh no. She even does like the biggest possible illusion she can do in the space of a T-Rex, and Carp looks through it. He doesn't register the illusion. He doesn't, like, the illusion is not something he's seeing. Which is really interesting. Glint has at this point, Glint does also have a good look around the kitchen, and we can see that there are various half-eaten apples on the counter with different levels of flour covering the half-eaten parts. So we were able to deduce Carp is eating and drinking, and the people of Phandalin are doing the regular things for self-sustainment. They're not in danger of accidentally of just absently starving themselves to death or dehydrating or anything like that. They are just kind of going through some motions with other things, but they are not going to just repeat themselves to death. They are doing things to sustain themselves. We managed to, because Carpy's little, we see a big old bulge in his pocket, and we're like, what you got there, buddy? And he's like, rock! Why do I have a rock? Oh, I should make breakfast!
and just goes to drop the rock, and we're like, nope, our rock, goodbye. Have this shiny apple, buddy. So yeah, okay, Randus, thank you. They're currently not in danger of absently starving themselves to death, but we continue to have concerns. So we leave Carp, unfortunately, making a large mess that we feel bad about Colleen having to clean up later, but what can you do? Oh, okay, yeah, that's an interesting thing. I forgot about that. Roll it down. Oh. I just hate touchpads.
Yeah, I know. There you go.
There we go. So Arendia also tries something out that's interesting. Tries comparing to see if there is a different response between verbally speaking to Carp and telepathically speaking to Carp. He responds to the verbal input where she asks him like out loud a question out loud. When she asks him the same question mentally, it elicits no response, as if the message is not received, understood, or acknowledged. The lights are on, nobody's home psychically. So having deduced, got the sending stone back and deduced that Harp is not going to die immediately, we continue into town to figure things out a little bit more. We head west, we see someone we have never seen before in town. A rather rotund individual entering the house between the Townmaster's Hall and Alderley Farms. And Glint just wants to just check in. He's not particularly relevant, but Glint is just checking in. And she just goes, oh, good afternoon, Townmaster. And to determine if that's who this is. And he does respond with like, oh, a good afternoon, welcome to our fine town kind of deal. And yeah, we've seen him for the first time. It's just a brief conversation to determine who he is, and he's acting the same way as other people. Nothing particularly helpful comes out of him, but we've seen him now. He left the building.
Oh.
I know. Well, he would have. Oh, Glint's like, not a dragon to be seen, and he's like, that's a weird thing to say.
Great. Love that for us.
Love that for us. As we continue in, we decide to check on Myrna the herbalist.
Yeah.
The shop is closed. And some signs say that it's probably been closed for about 4 days. So we head to the house instead, knock on the door. We're greeted by her son Nars, the youngest member of the family, and we ask to see his mom, and we get the answer, which one? We have never encountered a second mom in this house. In fact, Myrna has a deceased husband. So when he says which one, we go, Myrna, please. She is in. But he just closes the door and forgets about us.
Oh.
Oh yeah, very recently deceased husband. Very recently. It's bad. It's been so long since we started playing that I almost forgot about that whole thing. But yeah, he died. It was bad.
Mm-hmm. And it's only been like 3 weeks
In game. Yeah. So meanwhile, Basil is looking for out of place details on the street and stuff as Basil's been checking out the shrine and is coming back to kind of link up with us and is looking at for other out of place details. Nilsa, the Myrna's daughter, is leaving the inn from her shift, it seems, and is charging down the road only the way. Kitty, this is very eloquent, in the way only a tired 18-year-old customer service worker can. She nearly runs Basil over because Basil is invisible. And she heads in without acknowledging the party at all. At which point we're like, okay. And we just walk in. Well, Light just kind of walks in. Thank you, Light. Pulling up more note here. And chat. Oh. So we head in. We find out that second mom is Adabra, the potion maker from the windmill, who was staying with them while the windmill was being rebuilt. Light sees an opportunity to try and get someone to walk outside of the circle of, or to walk outside the range of this effect, and tries to remind her about the windmill, that she owns a windmill outside of town, and both Adabra and Myrna respond in unison with, "You own a windmill?" Light then tries the "you have inherited property" scheme. With, yes, your great uncle recently passed and you've inherited it, but you need to visit it to claim it.
Wow.
Which may be one of the funniest things Light has ever done.
Yeah.
Light, do you even know about property law? Yeah, so Light attempts to convince her to, go out of town with us, but Kinte says they decided it happened once with a visitor at the Abbey. It was probably a trap.
Yeah.
Incredible. You know what? I believe that. Real estate prospectors are terrifying. Sorry, I teared up laughing there. So they, of course, they space back out. And start talking about what to make for dinner. Ray may talk of making a roast chicken dinner using the green stuff in the garden that Myrna is growing. Light, sensing danger, goes out to the garden to check that there is nothing that might kill them.
Yeah.
Or give them hallucinations, or anything like that. Which is very kind of Light.
Yeah.
So there's not much that'll be a problem, but there's one really expensive plant that's growing that Light repots real good with a real high roll, to the point that Randus is like, so you repot this plant in the pot you've taken, and then you unpot it, go and get Myrna's special soil and repot it again successfully. Of other interest is when Light is looking for a pot, they find beams and woodcutter supplies all set out as if they were recently used, but not quite correctly. Like, instead of using a sawhorse, the planks and stuff are set out on these big pots and stuff and laid out. So we kind of deduce from that not only are, Myrna and Adabra as basically being made to play house, they're playing house with Adabra in the deceased of Myrna's deceased husband.
Mm-hmm.
Which is when this starts to, like, ramp up to really heckin' creepy for me.
Yeah, because there needs to be a woodcutter in town. This is where the woodcutter lives. This is a spare person here. The person who should be the woodcutter isn't here. Well, you're the woodcutter now.
Essentially, it's really heckin' creepy. This is like, Glint has been tail poofed the whole time she's been here. And, like, she's at, like, raised all fur on end point at this point. Because it's just really, really creepy. Mm-hmm. It's wrong. These people... She's a cat. She values freedom and autonomy. And these people have essentially been robbed of their will. And it's not okay. It's very not okay. It's bad. Also, Kite thinks giving them hallucinogens might actually be interesting.
I mean, possibly, yes.
Yeah. So, Arendiau's done, like, a sweep of the house to just look for anything that would be obviously out of place. Because, why not? Glint, meanwhile... Glint starts to cast Detect Magic in the house... And Adabra is like, hey, why are you casting spells in my house? Which is actually a normal reaction in Faerun. If someone walks into your house and just starts casting a spell, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
What are you doing? So Glint is like, sorry. Backs out of the house. Casts Detect Magic outside and comes back in.
Yep.
And starts doing a better, because she knows these people better than Arendiau, she starts doing a more thorough look through the house. And above table she has like a passive perception of 18, so it's really hard for her to like miss on anything. Mm-hmm. This was, I think, even with just her passive perception, I think I rolled real bad, but saved by the passive perception. Kite says, I mean, Carp couldn't see a minor illusion, but what if we tried the same thing inside their brains?
Oh.
So, Glint starts having a look around, and as before, whatever this effect is stronger around the people. Like, it's layered on the people more than the area. Except, she takes a good look at some of the portraits that are hanging up of the family. And there are portraits with Myrna and children and her husband. Mm-hmm. And she notices that in the spaces on the portrait where her husband is, that effect is layered about as strongly as it is on the people. So anything that would challenge the reality that they are living right now is strongly overwritten as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, this is also what's ramping up the creepy factor for me. Of course. Just like something is preventing them from perceiving things that would challenge them playing the roles they're in right now.
Right.
And that's when Glint has an idea. When you're overwriting a reality like this, it feels like fey magic or a charm effect. And Glint has calm emotions in her repertoire of spells, which you wouldn't think would be useful for a load of hypnotized people, except it has the effect of ending a charm effect on the target. Mm-hmm. So Glint, and it's got a good enough radius that Glint can do this. Glint casts it and runs back to Myrna and Adabra, who are like, what? Huh? They're snapping out of it. And Glint is like, I have exactly 1 minute to talk to you. I need to know what's happened here. And they start to go, what? And then it's snuffed out. And then her spell effect is snuffed out. Just immediately overwritten. The charm is back, but it was a charm effect. But it's an extremely strong charm effect. And it was like, Randus described what happened to it as would be as if you tried to cast light in magical darkness. It just immediately...
It starts to go and then just kind of fizzles.
Yeah. It just gets smothered.
Yeah.
But nothing lashes out at Glint. So this is an automatic thing happening without conscious effect from a creature or being, most likely. Yeah, Kuma's got it. It's cast but utterly overwhelmed, especially because this is like a 2nd level spell.
Yeah.
But it tells us exactly what effect these people are under.
Yeah, some kind of...
They are under an extremely powerful charm from something ancient and powerful.
Yay.
But we think it's likely an artifact or an artifact of some kind. Because, again, it was nothing lashed out at Glint, and it was so instantaneously smoothed over.
I just had an interesting thought. What if... Well, so 2 possibilities. If this is some kind of an ancient, powerful artifact, was it maybe one of the ones that Darren had in his basement?
Ooh, I didn't think about that.
And is it... Was it deliberately cast over Phandalin, or is this a case of somebody came in to steal all of Darren's artifacts, on their way out they accidentally dropped this one?
Oh.
And it, like, went off, so to speak, around Phandalin? You know, thoughts for later.
Thoughts for later. Thoughts for later. At this point, Glint is like a puffball of fur on end. And, like, is telepathically to the others kind of like, we should leave. We should get out of here before dark now, because if this happened, if this is something that is reapplied at night or something, we can't. We're pushing on to evening now. Like, we think this happened overnight. We're not being immediately affected by it, so it may be something that reapplies at a regular interval as well to, like,
refresh it.
Refresh it. We should get out of here for the night. Yep. So that was great. Basil is catching up with us because Basil has noticed something odd. And Arendio has now passed out the word because we assumed Basil is still within a mile of us despite being invisible, to be like, we are getting out of town for the night.
Yeah.
Regroup. Basil tries to spook Glint by walking up behind her and just being like, hey, but Mint is in the habit of letting Glint know that people are approaching. So Glint just leans over and is like, hey!
Hi, Basil.
Hi, Basil. How's it going? And Basil's like, you're familiar with the shrine here, right? I'm like, Glint's like, yeah, I'm somehow a cleric of Timora. I'm very familiar with the shrine. Don't know how that happened, but here we are. Basil's like, okay, come with me. I think something's weird, but I need you to confirm. And Basil and Glint head over to the shrine. And Glint notes it, can tell immediately. There's a big piece of stone missing from the shrine, and it was like a long, black, almost like boxy piece of stone has been taken from the shrine, and Glint's like, no, that's not right, and she just illusions over
what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, what it's supposed to look like, and Basil's like, okay, yeah, I see what's missing here. And Glint's, but it's a really, like, standout piece of stone, because it's the only piece of stone like that in the shrine. So we all kind of roll a history check to be like, where else have I seen stone like that? And at first, the roll doesn't go well, but then Basil pops some abilities, so Glint gets, like, a 24 4 on history on this, which was madness. And it turns out we've seen those pieces of stone like that in a few places. Here at the shrine, at the well behind the provisioners, on the corner of the miners' exchange, center of the bar at the Sleeping Giant, and a pile of rubble within Cragmaw Castle. And Glenn's like, I've seen these before. Remembering order of operation. So Glint is just like, it's like, I've seen, this is something, and she starts, like, she illusions up the stones she has seen before, these pieces of stone, because again, she got a really great history check. So she illusions them up and she starts kind of like playing with them in the illusion like a puzzle box, like rotating them and fitting them and drinking and like getting them. And she, with some gaps, she kind of gets them together in like what she realizes would be the shape of a black obelisk, which is something she has seen before, but that will come to her later. In the meantime, she pops down to, you know, say a quick prayer to Tamora at the shrine, and she goes, Tamora, these are... Hey, Tamora. Hey, Tamora, it's me, Glent. Are you listening? Hey, Tamora, it's me, Glent. Something's very wrong here, and these people need a little bit of luck. Please just make sure they don't, like, eat anything that will kill them or anything. They're good people. Please watch out for them. She leaves a coin, a coin for Tamora, a gold coin on the shrine, and she feels a warmth, which is nice. You know, because something else that I asked Randus was, does Glint kind of, like, still feel like this is a spiritual place, or is, like...
Or is something wrong?
Or is something wrong here? Is the shrine broken, essentially?
Yeah.
And Brandis was like, no, you still feel that kind of, like, spiritual, like, that spirit...
The divine touch.
Yeah, the aura of, like, divinity. Yeah. Like, yeah. The divine touch is still here. And Glint has that warm feeling, and she's like, okay, cool, thanks. Thanks, God, gotta go. And she bolts over to the well, just to ascertain if that has been... Kite says, I wrote so many interesting ideas of shrine stories during this bit. Thanks, bye, gotta run so we don't get charmed. Yeah, basically, Kuma. Glint does do a quick check on the well behind the provisioners, and sure enough, that piece of stone she remembers being there is missing.
Oh, interesting.
That's enough for Glint. She doesn't need to go to all the other places in town that she's seen it. She's like, okay, someone was taking these pieces. Why TBD?
Yep. We
will figure this out later. We're getting out of town. So we get our butts out of town at this point, and enter the phase that Kite has titled Let's Ask the Wizard. Because Glint is like, Phalar's smarter than me. We're gonna run all this by him.
Yeah.
Phalar knows magic stuff.
Yeah.
Phalar studied magic. I'm accidentally magic.
Yep, exactly.
In multiple ways. So we head back to the windmill. We've reached the limit of our travel for the day at the point, so we'd all just kind of like drop for the night, do a long rest, etc. Above table, it's to let Elrad roll to take some levels of exhaustion off Phalar, so his penalties on rolls are not as bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was real bad. And if it wasn't Glint who had the information, Randus would be like, guys, no. But it was Glint, so like he was like, I assume Glint came back, went, tired, we'll talk in the morning, and just passed out.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
We're like, yeah, that's about right for Glint. It's fine. It's fine. So come morning, Elrad manages to roll off a level of exhaustion, so his rolls are -4 instead of -6.
Mm-hmm.
So first we go over what we found out about the town with the charm effects and stuff. And so the conclusion Phalar kind of comes to about the charm effect is that there is probably has a fixed continuous source of an artifact of some kind, likely of nigh on incomprehensible age, the power source comparable with the high arts of the peak of the Cormanthor or the Netherese.
Oh, good.
But at the least, there was not an active conscious reaction to Glint trying to break it. So, more to be poked around, because we don't actually know the full shape of the effect. Is it a sphere? Is it a cylinder? Is the source deep underground or just in the middle of town? We don't know, and we can't be poking around at night looking for it because of the danger of falling under it again. Mm-hmm. We suppose. Mm-hmm. We still don't know what the actual active condition is for falling under that charm.
Right.
Which is terrifying, actually. And then we move on to the black obelisk, and Glint, pulls that up again, illusion-wise, as she does. And we're all, tick-tick-ticking at it, and then Ren just goes, "Oh, wait, you're from Cholt." Ren just goes, "Oh, wait, you're from Cholt. Roll with advantage." Because it turns out in Cholt, there is... Glint has seen something like this obelisk, something very similar, and she has seen it at the Tomb of the Nine Gods. Above table, this module is known as the Tomb of Annihilation.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Glint was told of the Tomb of the Nine Gods as a kitten. She read about it and was told never ever go there, so she of course scoped out the outside of it.
Uh-huh.
And she saw an obelisk much like the one that she they are finding pieces of missing here. Weird sentence, but here we are. And Phalar casts because she's also subconsciously as she's looking at her own illusion and remembering, I've seen something like this. It starts to her subconscious starts to superimpose writing from the one she saw at the Tomb of Annihilation on it.
Uh-huh.
And Phalar tries comprehend languages on it, at which point Randus is like, Glint needs to do a charisma check here, and it was abysmally bad. It was a 7 total, and Randus was like, perfect, love that. So essentially, most of what Glint is superimposing is an approximation of what she saw for the right.
It's not clear enough to be able to read it.
It's not real language.
Yeah.
Except
it's just, this is what it looked like.
Except there are 9 words that are legible, and that's maybe just fully superimposed by Glint. We're not sure. And it is the names of the 9 trickster gods that are supposed to be entombed there.
Yeah.
Which is the only thing on there that's legible and is not helpful.
Yep.
Yeah. So someone is rebuilding some kind of powerful obelisk.
Now, the stones that were around town, they've been there since we arrived in town, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
So someone has...
So, how did they get here in the first place? Why is somebody scattering broken obelisk around Phandalin?
Good question. Next question.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, but it does mean that someone somewhere is attempting to rebuild some kind of powerful obelisk artifact, which above table is less Kite for knowledge, is the kind of, I can't remember if it was Kite or Randus who said this above table, which is obelisks are good for storing and for building and storing power.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's why the ancient Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sacred shape.
Yep. So above table, my thought is actually maybe the cult of Talos
Oh, maybe.
has taken these pieces of obelisk for reasons.
Maybe.
But we're not sure yet who has taken them, and we're still not sure.
Is it the same person that took all the artifacts from Darren's basement?
Exactly.
If these obelisks are another item of power, kind of.
Yeah, so there's a lot of questions here. Yeah, so that's about where we left it. Like, figuring this, we've figured all of this stuff out, and it seemed a good place to leave it. The plan is still to go to Wave Echo Cave and see.
Well, especially now that we have an idea about the obelisk, we might be able to ask Gundred or his brother about the obelisk specifically and be like, hey, do you have any knowledge of this kind of artifact?
I also want to, after we do Wave Echo, I want to check in with Yemek and the goblins and be like, we're looking for this specifically being built somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my thing with going to Wave Echo Cave first is it's closer.
Yeah.
So we're not, like, doubling back if we go to Cragmaw Castle first.
Yeah, so it's good to go to the Wave Echo Cave, check in on people there, make sure they're well. Because the Spellforge is also a powerful item.
So if somebody was after things, they might have gone to Cave as well.
Yeah, so we need to check in on that.
Yeah.
Everyone has been writing Cryovane in the chat for various reasons with very different spellings. And Kidday has just, because everyone has put a different spelling, Cryovane, Cold Pride. With, I assume, the module spelling for Cryovane. Kuma, I was covering my bases. Y'all are adorable. Kids, no. Children, don't make me get the spray bottle. So yeah, that's where we left it. A lot of mystery and a lot of stuff to chew on there. I think we made great progress in figuring stuff out, like finding some puzzle pieces and stuff for hopefully helping people of Phandalin in the near future. I almost want to, in daylight, go back in and try and check what seems like the center point for the effect to see if it's at surface level or if there's something else going on. But that's something we can discuss as a group. Yeah, Randus is like, it was identified as whatever the obelisk is, it's older than the Netherese.
Yeah.
Which is real concerning. Don't like that at all. Yeah, so that's this week's D&D recap. Woo. Many hair-raising mysteries abound.
Thank you for your guest starring in.
You're very welcome. It. Very welcome. You had the migraine.
I did.
You had the migraine. It was bad.
It's fine. Bram got to hang out with Droop all afternoon.
Is that more fun for Bram or for Droop?
I feel like Bram actually would enjoy that to a certain extent. I'm betting he spent the afternoon probably regaling Droop stories. Because remember, for most of his adult life, Bram has been a storyteller and an entertainer.
Like, we slew the dragon.
Yes.
I was unconscious for half of it.
Yes, he spent the afternoon telling Droop very dramatic dragon slaying stories.
We had a moment where when we were like, oh yeah, Bram can help you. Light actually was like, Bram is a great weaver and the windmill will eventually need curtains.
It's true.
And then there was a debate about, wait, what were the... And I already have forgotten.
The sails.
What were the sail? Were they sails or were they made of... Like, does Bram need to weave sails for the windmill? No, it's one of the wooden style. But it's like, should Bram just start weaving those?
I was gonna say, even then, he probably wouldn't weave new cloth for them. He would get sailcloth from Phandalin because the Miners' Exchange probably has that.
Isn't the Miners' Exchange kind of effed up right now? But beyond being charmed, aren't they? Didn't it get pretty wrecked by the dragon? Yeah. But yeah, no, I thought you would appreciate that we were all like, Bram weaves.
Yeah, he do. He even has a loom now.
Just like,
Actually, what he's probably also helping Droop with is he's probably, because Bram also has mending, so he's probably using mending on some of the like mechanical components and things that can't be built but might need to be repaired.
ooh, I'm glad you've said that out loud, because now Randus is probably like taking it into account.
Yep.
That seems like something that Bram would do, yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
mending is a cantrip, so he could do it.
Boop, boop,
It's-
boop, boop,
yeah.
boop, boop, boop.
He could do it multiple times as needed.
Yeah, and we were also like, Bram can do some of the heavy lifting and move
Yes.
some of the rubble and
Stuff that
like
Droop
that.
would have trouble with.
Exactly.
Is the plan to leave Droop at the windmill when we leave?
No, Droop is coming with
Coming with us to the cave?
I don't think any of us want to leave him alone there.
No.
And now he has been like convinced to go with us because maybe he can get more help at the cave for building.
Mhm.
He was inconsolable. He was like, Droop promised to rebuild the
Aw.
windmill. Droop promised.
You'll still keep that promise. You didn't promise a deadline.
That, you know what? That's true.
But yeah, and then assuming the cave is still safe and hasn't also been attacked or invaded or whatever, we could potentially Droop at Wayback Cave.
Yeah.
With Gundred and them until we're sure that Phandalin is safe again.
Kitty, even if it's safe, it's going to be real depressing for him to leave him there.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
That's true.
He's having a rough day. Right, I will give you back your place. Or are we gonna take a short
I think we're
break?
gonna take a short break because it is, I'm assuming, close to noon.
It's 11:53.
So we will be back in a few minutes. Everybody get up, stretch, use the bathroom, grab your drinks, etc. And I'll be back in a few. Alright. I return to friends. Welcome back. Thank you once again to Cara for helping me out with the recap. I spent yesterday's D&D session napping in the hammock outside. And also working on Blanket. He was promised a big feast as a reward. That's good to know. New hammock is great. It's been not even too hot. It's been too humid and like rainy outside to really make use of it for the past week or two. Like the entire week that Kite was visiting, outside was soup. So we weren't, it was either soup or raining or both. But yesterday it was, the humidity was a bit down yesterday, and it was nice enough outside that I was able to go and flop in it. It is really, really nice. I've always wanted a hammock. I'm really happy I finally went ahead and got one. It's real good. I'm very much enjoying getting to go out and lay on the hammock. All right. Here. I may go out and lay on the hammock again this afternoon. We'll see. Okay, cool. So, I promised Cara and SJ life stories after D&D recap. Because like I said, it's not been a bad week. It's just been, it sure has been a week. So I mentioned previously that there was a big storm on Canada Day. Certain parts of the city got like 6.5 inches of rain. It was like, they're calling it a once in a 200-year storm. It was bad. I think it was 10,000 basements across the city flooded. Like there was a lot of rain. All of the Canada Day festivities got canceled. The fireworks got canceled. Like all of it. It was a big storm. So Kite and Cara and I were over at our friend's place, like playing board games and stuff, because we had been planning to do like, you know, board games during the day and then barbecue for dinner, and then we can go watch the fireworks. Canada Day. So we were over at my friend's condo when all the rain started. And then after the storm passed, we were like they had to move their car out of the underground parking because the underground parking was starting to flood. Like it was bad. So after like the storm passed and the rain had stopped, we went outside to like walk around the outside of the condo building just to like see how bad it was. Like they're up on a hill, so their underground parking was flooded and there was like standing water on a bunch of their patios. But I believe most of like the units in their building were fine. So we went outside to like walk around the patios and things and like see how bad it actually was. And there was like, you know, like maybe an inch or two maybe a little more of standing water on some of the patios and things, which, you know, it's fine. We're all wearing sandals or, you know, fairly waterproof shoes, so we just kind of walked around and you know, etc. Feet got wet, sandals got wet, no big deal. Except Cara's sandals that she was wearing were leather sandals, like actual real leather. But again, that's fine. Like leather dries out, no big deal. But we think that because they got super wet and then dried out, they might have deformed a little bit. Because then this week on Wednesday, she went to wear those same sandals to work. Well, and she did wear them to work. And she walks to work and, you know, has a fairly active job where she's like getting up and walking around fairly often. And by the time she got to work, she had a blister starting to form on the side of her foot from where the leather sandal was rubbing against her. We assume because it got a bit deformed from being all wet. Yeah, leather will accept water and then shrink after drying. Yep. So by the end of the day Wednesday, Cara had like this massive blister on the side of her foot. I will spare people gross details. But yeah, so suffice to say, by Wednesday evening, she could barely walk. And then Thursday and Friday, she was like kind of limping around. So Thursday was her day off anyway. Which we'll get to the other half of this week's story in a minute. So Thursday was her day off anyway, and then she ended up taking Friday off, so that she could just, you know, continue to stay off of her foot, because the other problem was all of her shoes would rub in that exact spot. Like, even if she wore a different set of sandals, there was no way to not put pressure on that area. So she ended up taking Friday off too, just to be able to continue to stay off her foot, you know, let it heal. Yeah. But I'm assuming it's better today, Cara. How is your footy? So yeah, it is on the mend. It is fine. We are taking very good care of it to keep it clean and disinfected and everything. But yeah, that was fun. So I came home from work Wednesday and went to lay down upstairs, because I typically work a lot closer to home, and I get off about half an hour before Cara does. I usually get off at 4:30 and she gets off at 5. So I usually, if I'm coming straight home, I'm usually home for like half an hour or 45 minutes before Cara gets home. So I had come home from work and laid down in bed just to, like, I'll do that sometimes where it's like, I'll just take a nap until Cara gets home, and that's like a half an hour nap, and that's fine. Like, that'll be enough to refresh me. So I had laid down in bed, and so Cara comes home, and I hear her come in downstairs, and I hear her come up the stairs, and she pokes her head into the bedroom, and she goes, I hate to ask you this. I need you to look at my foot. And I was like, what did you do? So yeah, so that was one half of the story of this week. The other half of the story for this week also extends back to when Kite was visiting. So on Friday, when Kite was here, so this would have been, you know, last Friday. No, it wasn't Kite's fault. Neither of these things were your fault. You just happened to be here for both of them. Entirely coincidentally. So on Friday, we're like, you know, hanging out, playing board games, etc. And we get a knock on the door that is one of the maintenance guys from our landlord, our property management company. And we hadn't got, like, we had put in a few maintenance requests, but they hadn't notified us that he was going to be coming that day, but, like, whatever, that's fine. So he was like, hey, I'm here to look at your fridge. Because, so our fridge, and we've been living in this unit for 10 years. I believe it is 10 years this summer. It might be 11 years this summer. And this is still the original fridge. Like, it is at least a 10-year-old fridge. And we've never, like, had it replaced or anything. So over the last, like, I don't know, last 6 months or so, it's, like, kind of been acting up. It has a tendency where it'll freeze our fruit and veg that's in the fridge part, and then the freezer will not get cold enough and we'll end up with, like, soft serve ice cream. And we've reported it to maintenance a couple times, and all they've done has been like, oh yeah, well, you just need to turn the temperature down on the fridge. And it's like, no, that's clearly not fixing the problem. So when this guy came in on Friday, he actually did his due diligence, and he was like, okay, well, like, can you pull everything out of the freezer so that I can actually access, you know, the panel that's at the back of the freezer, so that I can actually take a look at the internal components. And we're like, yeah, not a problem. So we pulled all the stuff out of the freezer. And he accessed the back panel and was like looking, you know, poking through it, and he's like, oh, I see what the problem is. Like, you've got, like, this bit here is cracked and you've got a bit of a coolant leak. But this fridge is so old, I don't know if we can get parts for it anymore. So he called his supervisor, and they discussed it, and basically determined that, yes, indeed, this fridge is so old they cannot get parts for it anymore. They're gonna have to get us a new fridge. Which is fine. Again, this is, like, the original fridge on the unit. I'm surprised it's lasted this long, honestly. So he was able to, like, I guess use silicone or something to patch the coolant leak for long enough until they were able to get us a new fridge, so that, you know, the fridge is continuing to work. It is still indeed holding food at temperature. It's just, like, we know we need a new one. So he patched the fridge is theirs. We rent, and our rent includes all of the major appliances. So, I believe it's the fridge, the stove and oven, the dishwasher, the laundry washer, and the laundry dryer, are all their responsibility. So anytime any of those appliances is on the fritz or goes out, we call their maintenance team. Their maintenance team comes in and either fixes them or gets us new ones. So yeah, it is their responsibility to, like, fix the fridge or replace it, which is fine. Like, that's part of why we rent. So they were like, okay, cool, we'll replace the fridge for you. After a little bit of back and forth, they were like, okay, we're gonna have contractors come in. Like, we do have a spare fridge sort of in our maintenance warehouse, I guess. We'll schedule contractors for Monday afternoon to be able to come in and, you know, take out your old fridge and put in the new fridge. And yeah, Monday afternoon. And we were like, okay, can you switch it to Tuesday? Because Cara's normal days off are Tuesday and Thursday. So if they could switch it to Tuesday, then neither of us would have to take time off. She would just be home. And we were told, like, no, we've already booked the contractor. It's going to be Monday afternoon. And we're like, okay, cool. That's fine. It's summer, so my job isn't, like, super busy at the moment. So I talked to my boss and was like, hey, I need to take Monday afternoon off. And she was like, yeah, no problem. So I came home at lunch on Monday, and we had been told the contractor was supposed to show up between noon and 4 p.m. So I came home at noon. And, you know, sat around, was working on my blanket. No contractors. It hit like 4, and I was like, okay, well, like, maybe I misheard when Cara told me the time. Maybe it was supposed to be noon and 5. Waited around until 5, still no contractors. So when Cara got off work at 5, she was like, hey, did they ever show up to replace the fridge? And I was like, no, like, I've been home, I've been inside. they never rang the doorbell. Now, granted, so the way that our townhouse is set up is we have an outside entrance, and you walk in our front door, and then there's an immediate flight of stairs up because we live on the second and third floor of the building. So if people knock on our door, we typically don't hear it because the door is, you know, down a flight of stairs. But that's why we have a doorbell. So if they had knocked but not rung the doorbell, it is entirely possible that I wouldn't have heard them. So I told Cara that, I'm like, I'm going to be really annoyed if they try to claim that they showed up and knocked on the door and nobody answered, because they definitely didn't ring the doorbell, because I've been here, I've been home, I've been awake the entire afternoon. So she's like, okay, I'm going to call our property manager. So she calls, and the property manager was basically like, what the hell? Because the contractor had basically like let them know, like, hey, I'm not going to be able to do it today. I've got too many jobs, so I'm not going to get around to this one, essentially. And we're not sure if they just didn't tell the property, because our actual property manager, like the actual guy that Cara has been talking to, was off on Monday. So we don't know if just the contractor never bothered to tell his team, or if they did tell his team and then his team just didn't bother to tell us. So somewhere there was a breakdown in communication. But anyway, the long and the short of it is, no fridge on Monday. So we were like, fine. So Cara, you know, emailed back and forth with him a couple times. And this is in no way our property manager's fault. He is equally as annoyed by this as we are. And so he was like, okay. So eventually we rescheduled it for Thursday, which is Cara's normal day off, so neither of us would have to take more time off work. Which, you know, again, turned out to be for the better, because Wednesday night is when she got that giant blister, so Thursday she was just kind of hanging around the house anyway. However, on Thursday, the contractor called and claimed that his truck had broken down. We are slightly skeptical of this because it was also raining a lot on Thursday, and so we're wondering if his truck actually broke down or if he just didn't want to have to move a fridge in the pouring rain. But anyway, he was like, oh yeah, he's like, my truck broke down, I can't do it today, I will do it first thing tomorrow. So Friday at this point. Again, annoying, but because of her foot, Cara was kind of planning to take Friday off anyway, so okay, fine, get it done Friday. Yeah, how is your broken down truck getting fixed that evening? Yeah, exactly. Friday, he once again was like, no, I just can't do it today, I'm too busy. So at this point, the property manager is also pissed and is like, okay, I have spoken to my manager about this. We are going to be hiring a different contractor because we have also lost faith in this guy and whatever the hell he's got going on. Our property manager also explained, he was like, you know, I would have had my maintenance team in to do this already, but because of the way our unit is set up with the stairs, it actually is a like safety hazard moving the fridge up and down the stairs, and essentially the in-house maintenance team doesn't have the proper equipment to be able to safely move the fridge, and that's why they have to hire outside contractors, which we totally get. Like, that's fine, we understand that. Like, this is not in any way the property manager's fault. So they have now booked a different second contractor to come in next Wednesday, or like, you know, this coming Wednesday, 3 days from now, to be able to finally replace our fridge. I will be taking the morning off work because, again, like, I don't trust them not to be like, oh, well, we're not allowed to touch your food, that's a sanitary issue, like, we can't do this if you're not home to move the food, like, whatever. I get that. I kind of don't want them touching my food anyway, so I'm just gonna take the morning off and do that part for them. But yeah. Yeah, no, I totally understand the not having the equipment or the liability to move things up and down the stairs. That I 100% understand that. So, but yeah, our poor property manager, he was so apologetic. He's like, I absolutely would have had my team in to do this for you by now. Like, we could have had it done. I'm so sorry. Like, it's fine. He's a good guy. So yeah, so that's the saga of our fridge. I was telling my boss all this on Friday because I had to, ask for Wednesday morning off. And she was like, oh my god, like they still haven't replaced it? And I'm like, nope. 3 strikes, this contractor's out. We're on to contractor number 2. I guess TBD. We'll see if we have a fridge this time next week. I guess stay tuned for part 2 of Fridge Saga. But yeah, that was kind of our week, was fridge issues and then giant blister. It's fine. Everything is fine. Does one truly need a fridge? Yes. Yes, indeed. For things like eggs, and milk, and chicken breasts. And cheese. Trying to think of what else is in our fridge currently. And coffee creamer. And interesting juices. And berries. Although I don't think we have any berries in there at the moment. The mulberries were trying to start their own colony, so we put a stop to that. And the Saskatoon berries, I actually used all of them. I finally made a second batch of muffins, Kite. I finally got around to it. For like the last 3 days of Kite's visit, I was like, oh, I'll make another batch of muffins, and just kept forgetting to. Finally did. To be fair, we didn't finish all the muffins, scones, and cake before I left. True. And I was at some point intending to make cookies for you as well. But like I said, we ended up being less snack driven than I suspected we were going to be. Or rather, we had plenty of like fresh things to snack on and didn't end up needing the baked goods. Each household has to have at least 1 bottle of maple syrup and at least 1 container of poutine. Yes, and the syrup has to be either Quebec or Ontario syrup. It cannot be any of this, like, Maine BS. No Vermont syrup. Only Quebec. Yeah, poutine is takeaway food. You don't necessarily, like, you don't make poutine at home. you get poutine at places. You order poutine in. Which we did actually do while Kite was here. That was our terraforming Mars dinner. Was we ordered poutine. We were gonna order Mexican and then realized that the Mexican place we were gonna order from has changed their menu. And no longer has things that I am for certain able to eat. And I didn't feel like rolling the dice on food I probably wouldn't be able to eat. So we went with poutine instead. Which does mean we deprived Kite of authentic Mexican food, which I apologize for, but again, I didn't feel like rolling the dice on food that I probably couldn't eat. Good news, you have mostly finished the continuity presentation for the symposium. I should at some point start work on my presentation for the symposium. Kind of my plan for next Saturday, actually. Since next weekend is not a D&D weekend, I'll probably just, like, down and do it Saturday. But, like, I know what's in my presentation, and it's simple enough. I'll be able to build it in an afternoon, no problem. I just need to, like, actually look up and find pictures and things. And actually build the slides, which will not actually take me that long. And it's the kind of... I'm one of those people that, like, if I'm doing a presentation or something like this, I want to be able to sit down and do it all in one sitting. I don't want to be like, oh, well, I'll just do 2 slides today and then 2 slides tomorrow. Like, that's not how my brain works. Like, I want to sit down and do it all at once. Because then I'm like, I'm in the flow and like my creative juices are going and I'm in a good groove and I'm just getting it all done kind of thing. Mine is probably going to be somewhat short as well, Kits. Much less than my previous 2 rather rambling presentations. If you want a little bit of a preview, my presentation for our 3rd symposium is going to be a presentation on Kumamoto Castle, which is located in Kumamoto City, Kumamoto Prefecture in Japan. Which, if you remember from my presentation last year, is where I spent 4 months of the year in 2009. So it will be a little bit of the history of Kumamoto Castle, when and how it was built. It will be pictures from the visits that I did to Kumamoto Castle. And then it will be pictures of the earthquake the damage from the earthquake that hit Kumamoto in 2016 and some of the really incredible restoration work that has been done since then. Like, it's like, honestly, the restoration work is what made me want to do this presentation, because it is fascinating. They're doing it all in using original techniques, using like as much heritage tooling and techniques and woodworking as they can to restore it, not just using original materials, but also the original crafting techniques. It's really fascinating. So yeah, it'll probably be a pretty short presentation because unfortunately a lot of the reporting and stuff on it is in Japanese, which I don't have the energy or time at the moment to fully translate, so it's just going to be kind of summaries and overviews, but it's really interesting. Oh, you've been to Kumamoto Castle, Kuma. It is amazing. I got to go there like I think 3 or 4 times. It is beautiful. I love that castle. It is indeed considered one of the three most beautiful castles in Japan, that are like the most well preserved and beautifully constructed. Yeah, no, it's great. I love Kumamoto Castle. There's and again, this will be in my presentation, and you'll be able to see it a little bit better then. But one of the things that Kumamoto Castle is most known for is its walls, because it has like these really unique kind of sloping walls that are meant to keep invaders from climbing up them. And when the earthquake hit in 2016, one of those, because they're basically retaining walls. There's like the outer stone shell, and then the interior is all like loose rock and like pebbles and dirt. And when the earthquake hit in 2016, one of those retaining walls gave way, and there's this incredible picture where the corner of where 2 walls had come together, the stones along the spine of the corner held together, while the retaining walls on both sides collapsed out. So there's this entire section of castle that was being held up by one stack of stones that were fitted together in such a way that they didn't collapse. It's really incredible. So yeah, if you're interested, definitely tune into my presentation. I will have pictures of all of that. It's fascinating. We'll probably need VOD. That's okay. We are planning to record again, so there should be VOD. And even if not, I can send you pictures. Because yeah, it's really interesting. Okay. Mark my pattern here. Arches are strong. They sure are. Architecture is fascinating. I remember one of my clearest memories of Kumamoto Castle is I remember there was one point where I was running my hand along one of those walls and like touching the stones and everything. And Kumamoto Castle was originally built in, I want to say, the 1600s. And I remember very distinctly thinking like, holy shit, like this castle, this wall is older than my entire country. And just like that kind of blew my mind. At that point in my life, it was like the first time I had really encountered something that old that's like so gorgeously constructed. Yeah, it was very, it was a moment. It was a pivotal moment of like me just kind of having that realization. Because we don't really have anything that old in North America. Not ruin, or not like structures like that anyway. Yeah, not like constructed things. Like there's burial mounds and things, but no like we don't have castles the way that Europe does and the way that Asia does. Mexico, though? Yeah, okay, yeah, fair. But I had never been to those. I had never seen them. But yes, you are correct. Mexico does have Incan and Mayan ruins that are that old. And older. We would have more, but colonization took that from us. Yup. Almost. I managed to flip that. Cannot overstate. Turkey burgers. Ooh, that does sound tasty. Also, yes, reminder for people to eat. Ooh, and BGA. Actually, that is the perfect time since I have just ended a row and flipped this. Excellent. It's off my lap. Ugh. It's fine. Alright. Stand by. Okay, I want this one. I want it to actually read BGA. There we go. All right. Should have plenty of boards to do. I do. I have 56. Well, yeah. Okay. I made a mistake here. I boozled myself on row 5, but it's fine. Need 2 red. There we go. Okay, let's see here. Don't need the 8, don't need the king. So let's draw a card. Okay, that's not helpful. These 2, though, can go there. And then I guess I discard the 10. Other rummy game. Ooh. Don't need the 10s. Don't need the 8. Don't need the king. Don't need that 5. So let's draw a card. Okay. Well, the 5 and the 6 can go here. Two aces, huh? I guess let's discard this and see how we go. Ooh, please, yes, please. All right. Azul.
That one I can put on pretty easily. So yeah, let's do that. And let's discard one of these two to do it. Perfect. Okay. Got plenty of things I can play. Let's do this one. Ooh, 17 works for me. That can go there. Okay. I think I just want to play more tree. Ooh, goody, postcard. Okay. I'm here. Right, so I just need to move there and send that. What gift card do I want? I have none currently. Ooh, 2 free stamps or collect more, get more. 2 free stamps is pretty powerful. Do that. I do need a new postcard, thank you. Let's take I mean, 6 stamps is pretty powerful, especially with my 2 free ones. Sure. Okay. And then... Neither of these 2 campsites still free in this region are helpful for this postcard. So maybe we just move again for our last action. Maybe we wait. I could just draw a second postcard too. Actually, that's probably the good play. Let's also grab this one. And then I don't think I want to do my 2 stamps yet. Save that. Okay, now I do want to travel, and then I'm hoping for campsite cards. Darn it. Okay, that's fine. I like postcards quite a bit. Okay. Sure. Let's mountain. And then I have 1 coin. Let's go here. Ooh, 1 coin for 4 points? Sure. Okay. Wild color is purple. None left on the board. That's fine. Let's grab more cream. Or orange. You know, let's grab the orange. Ooh, okay, visions. I like this one. It's really pretty and really simple. So, the basis of this one is you keep 3 cards in hand, and then there's cards at the top that you'll draw from after your turn. You have 2 rows here. You have a top row and you have a bottom row, and you're looking to create dreams. So both of these are 2 separate dreams, the top row and the bottom row. To be able to lay cards, you have to either match the symbol or you have to match the color. So for instance, I could lay this yellow card on top of here if I wanted to. I couldn't lay either of these on here because they don't match the color and they don't match the symbol. But the other thing to look out for is if you play mirrored cards between your 2 dreams, you get bonuses. So for instance here, what Kuma's done is he had a purple and yellow in his top dream. He laid a purple card for the first in his bottom dream. There's a purple card at the same place in both dreams, so it gets a bonus. Here, Cara actually gets the same thing because she laid the same symbol in her top and her bottom. So again, you're matching colors, matching symbols, not just horizontally, but also vertically. It's fun. It's interesting. I like it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my red one here. Confirm. Woo! Bonus points. And then I get to draw a card. So my plan is I'm going to then put this one here too, because then that'll resonate the yellows. Then after that, I don't really have a plan. So I'll be ending up with a yellow on top for both. So maybe I just grab one of these. Okay. So brand new Terraforming Mars game. I get to play my 2 prelude cards. Let's start with this one. And then I was planning to do, yes, so do that and play Giant Space Mirror. Perfect. And then next turn I'll be able to start throwing things into space. Mwahahaha. That card became a little bit of a meme while Kite and Cara and I were playing. Kite just kept flinging plants up into space in exchange for coins, and we kept dunking on them for it. Okay, could do red there. I think that's probably my best bet. Let's put the red bird, or the yellow bird with the red flowers here. An 11. Sure, I'll put that there. Okay. 4-point hand for me. Fine, I'm still ahead. 6-point hand for Kits. Catching up. 6-point crib. Okay. Now we're pretty even. 2 cards to my crib. Guess let's do this and hope for a 3. Sure. Okay. We have a 14-point hand for Kits. Well done. 6-point hand for me. And 2-point crib. Boo. Okay, Kits' crib, huh? Well... Okay, this is mean. I guess that... Yeah, that's... Yeah. Annoying, but yes. Okay. Let's pick up the butterfly, I think. Yes, let's pick up the butterfly. That. There we go. 12-point hand for me. Huzzah! 9-point hand for kits. And a 10-point crib. Dang. Okay, okay. 2 cards to my crib. Well... I guess that. Okay. Nothing on the board. Fun times. I guess let's pick up the bird. Okay, next station London. Need a triangle. Do that one. Need a square. I mean, I get points for crossing the river, so let's do that. Okay, Boomerang Europe. I need car. There's a couple, or airplane, or I need one mountain. One's a car and a mountain. Let's do that one. Aha, okay. That? Sure. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay. Water, water everywhere. Forest? Probably forest. Then this one needs to go like that. That one. Okay. Do that. Boar's already been claimed, so let's lay down the extra clover. Can you tell my favorite card games? Play that. Okay, gizmos. I did draw red energy, so let's go ahead and build that. Cool. Okay. Ooh, drafting. This one. Hello. There we go. Okay. Now, do I actually want to buy any of these? Maybe not. I mean, insects might be good. I already have several plant tags. More plant production is never a bad thing, especially not the way I play the game. I mean, Media Archives is fine. Big Asteroid is also good. Media Archives is better later in the game once a bunch of people have played events. Maybe I just do this. Do that. Okay. You want this one. Okay. Great. Fresh new game. Let's see. And this is titanium is worth extra. Right. Right. Do have a ton of titanium. Nobody else has plants for me to nuke yet. I mean, this is probably really good first turn, though. You know what? YOLO. Sorry, kids. Temperature go up. Heal, please. Excellent. And then... okay, I guess let's do that. More steel, please. And then next turn I can probably play the whole area for free. Oot. Okay. Let's see here. A 1, a 2, and a 1. Mildly annoying. Gosh, I don't want any of these. I mean, I can put the 2 here. I do have wild cards, I think. No, I don't. I mean, you know what? We might as well. Those there. Okay. Alright, this is better. Now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 would get it there. Alright, fine. Let's move you here. That's at least points. Okay, and then this other 2. Let's put it down here. Fine. Bunch of things go off as everybody plays, because technically all the turns are played simultaneously in this one. Pass our cards. Ooh, okay, okay. Love that. Perfect. Alright, now get to mark things. I want to mark... I'm not really pushing tours, but I usually push tours. Maybe I mark one of these first. Yeah, let's do that one. And then let's do this one. I could just do another. Just do another money. Because my private goal is this one. Remove 6 cash limitations. Yeah, maybe I just punch this. Let's do that one. Right, next. Okay, super mega lucky box. Could just be like Cara and throw every asteroid at the planet and then play Media Archives. That's true. I didn't have any other asteroids in hand in that game, though. You pelted Mars with an entire asteroid belt. I guess let's put the 5 here. And then the 1, let's play it here. Right, the other one. 4. Actually put that there. Oh, now we get a 5, of course. That's fine. Do that one there. Okay, rummy again. Let's see. 8, 9, 2, 8. No, let's cross our fingers, draw a card. Okay. It's not helpful. Let's discard the 2. Okay, so we have 6 and 5, or we have 7 and 4. Well, that's a no-brainer. Okay. 1, 3, 4, 4, 5 for Yahtzee. 3, 4, 5 is almost a straight. Let's try that. Okay. I love it when that happens. Large straight, please. Thank you very much. Oh, no, we're not playing that one on stream. Okay. So I want fields that are on ruins. Okay, cool. Let's do that here because I also want towns that are next to 3 different things. Other yeah, this is the weird cartographers. These must be new cards. This must be an expansion that I've not seen yet, because I've not seen any of these and they're neat. The hell is this? The hell does a hero do? No, like legitimately, what does a hero do? Does it tell me? Nope. What does a hero do? Nope, just says hero. I assume maybe it smacks monsters on each of the indicated spaces? Question mark? You've never seen a hero. Okay. Well, okay, hang on. Maybe we do actual research. This requires me to spell cartographers. Cartographers. Board. Game. Hero. Card. Is there a wiki? Oh, there we go. Rules. There we go. Oh, good lord. Why must you use fake script font? Please no. Okay, hang on. Yes, yes, yes. I know what those all do. Okay, hero cards. When a hero card is revealed, each player draws a 1x1 square anywhere on their map, then fills it in with the hero terrain type. Each player then marks spaces in the depicted attack pattern relative to the hero space. So for this particular one, it's like the four corners. Heroes destroy monsters in two ways. When a hero is drawn, all monster spaces within the hero's attack pattern are immediately destroyed. Then, for the rest of the game, all monster spaces drawn within any hero's attack pattern are destroyed. Okay, perfect. So it is exactly what I thought. So here, those, if there was already a goblin on the board, I could use those 4 attack spaces to destroy it, but wherever I decide to put it now, any goblins that are, or any monsters that are placed within those 4 spaces will automatically get discarded and destroyed. Neat. So you can kind of like add in a zone of protection. So what do I want to do with this? Is this useful anywhere? Not at the moment. I guess maybe like there. Again, at this early in the game, it doesn't really make a difference. Sure, let's put it there. Because I'm trying to go for trees in this column in particular, and this will keep people from trying to put monsters there. So, okay, cool. We'll do that. Okay. Town or water? This wants town with empty space around it. And this wants water adjacent to 2 or more farm spaces. So I guess let's do water. Let's, I don't know. Let's say our water district is over here. Tiny towns. Ooh. What resource do I want? I think I want... I think I want... Okay. So here we want each cluster of 6 or more village spaces, okay? Or we want, right, the really annoying one. I'm probably going to go with villages here because I have to place it over this ruined space. So let's do... Okay. Canvas. So was going for, yeah, so circle or rainbow and non-adjacent triangle. We have square and sunburst next to each other, 3 matching in a row. Ooh, actually, that one. Okay. Now then, wild color green. Already got 3 red. Let's grab these 2. Ooh, goody, 4 gardens. Okay. So, first, I want to move things. First, I want to put this one as groundwork. Okay. Now I want to move things. Okay. Finish that one. Move ahead on this track. And then I lay an extra stone here. Complete that one. Move ahead on that track. Huzzah! Okay. I want to be able to go from the bottom up, be able to grab those woods that I need. Well, I also have a wild card there, which is good. Let's grab that one, and then I don't know, let's grab here. Perfect. Okay. Sure, let's grab all 3 of those. Put them there. Other tiny town. Okay, glass. What was I going for here? Oh, right, that's what I was going for there. But can just do, glass. I mean, I could just build a cottage, which is fine. I could go for the bank too. I'm not sure doing the bank early is a good idea. It's kind of saving it for, yeah. Yeah, let's actually put it down here. All right. Sure, I'll take that. Let's play that. Let's do... Sure. End of game, Kitsune wins. Gasp. GG's, GG's. Skunked me. Skunked me to death. GG's. Okay. Let's do that one. Let's grab the moon. Ooh. Sure, I'll take that right away. That works for me. I guess let's grab this ribbon. And we're not playing that one on stream. All right, excellent. Well done, friends. Thank you very much. Foxes crushed me underfoot. Hey, they didn't. Yeah. It happens. Such is board games. Switch back to that. Excellent. Get a little more blanket done. A little more blanket as a treat. But thank you as always for the games, friends. I very much enjoy those. Alright, computer, wake up. Alright. Yeah, so we taught Cara how to play Terraforming Mars, because our friend M has a physical copy of it and was very gracious to loan it to us, so that we could teach Cara how to play, and then M also came over to our place for the evening so that we could play another game. Cara just kind of threw every asteroid through the entire asteroid belt at Mars the first game. Just the entire asteroid belt. I think she had basically every asteroid and comet card in the game. And was just bombarding. It feels like not a terrible strategy if you can do it. No, it was working. It was definitely working. We were just razzing on her for just the continual bombardment of the planet. That was the same game where Kite was just continually flinging plants into space in exchange for money somehow. I do like playing in
paper because it gives me a better sense of, like, I have an easier time keeping track of what my opponents are doing. And so, like, I can draft more strategically of, like, okay, well, I definitely don't want Cara to get this card. Whereas playing on BGA, I find it a lot more difficult to remember to keep track of what my opponents are doing. So I don't... Like, I end up paying more attention to my own board and not as much attention to what my opponents are playing with. Which is true for a lot of BGA games, to be honest. Yeah, certainly an issue with pass and play for sure. But also I think it's just kind of a BGA thing. Or because it's digital, like, I could scroll down and look at my opponent's boards, I just don't of the time. Yeah, and with pass and play, you do need to explicitly go and read what happened on previous turns, for sure. But I am also very glad that pass and play exists, because otherwise I probably wouldn't be playing nearly as many board games. Ooh, Cara, reminder that you were going to post update pictures for the Rathalos cross stitch. Because it looks incredible. I was not happy with the pattern while I was doing the patterning for it, but now that you're actually stitching it, it looks really good. I think, especially once you do the back stitching, it's going to look even better. So far, the set of cross stitches that Cara is doing for Desert Bus this year are Huluyaku, Local Idiot, Rathalos, Iconic, Anjanath, also iconic, Nergigante, Big Spiky, and then she has a pattern for Legiana that she's gonna have to tweak a bit, and then potentially, if she has time, there's also the possibility of doing a Behemoth as like a stretch goal. Yeah, so Cara's Desert Bus project this year is a set of six, like they're fairly small. They're like 6 inches by 6 inches. They're about that big. Cross stitches of the Monster Hunter World, the Hunt Bill art. So like that stylized sort of almost like block carving style art for the monsters. They look really good. I helped her. I did the patterns for the Anjanath and the Rathalos, and if we have time, I'll also be doing the pattern for the Behemoth. The Legiana and the Nergigante and the Kuliyaku she got from an Etsy store. The patterns for them. But they look really, really neat. Yeah, the Rathalos looks great so far. It took me forever to do the pattern, and I was not happy with the pattern, but now that it's actually, like, coming out in stitch, it looks a lot better than I was expecting it to. It looks really good. Have you decided, Cara, what bits of the Rathalos you're going to do with the metallic backstitching? Because all of them have backstitching, and some of the parts of them are metallic. So, like, the Kuliyaku, his egg, and some of his claws, and I think his beak are metallic. For Anjanath, his claws are metallic, and the like stripes on his sail frills. Nergigante, a bunch of his spikes are metallic. It looks really cool. But yeah, Anjanath and Rathalos were chosen because they're fairly iconic. Rathalos is iconic to the whole series. Anjanath is fairly iconic to World specifically. Legiana was chosen because that's one of Cara's favorite monsters. Kuliyaku was chosen because that's one of my favorite monsters. Nergigante was chosen just because that's like the first Elder Dragon you meet in World. Again, fairly iconic. Or I guess technically the first Elder Dragon you have to fight. Technically the first Elder Dragon you meet is Zoramagdaros, but you know. And then the Behemoth is the bonus stretch goal because that's just funny. Yeah, for Nergigante, so like the metallic wasn't planned from the start. Once she finished the Nergigante, she was like, I wonder how I can make, like, what kind of backstitching should I use? What color of backstitching should I use to make some of these spikes stand out a little more? And I think I'm the one that suggested, well, what about trying metallic? And it looked really good. So from there we were kind of like, okay, well now we have to do a little bit of metallic on all of them as kind of a through line, and it looks really good. Ah, right, the snoot horn. Use metallics around all the darker markings in the body. Maybe. I'm wondering if that will make them stand out too much though, because mostly you've been using backstitching to indicate like elevation change, if that makes sense. Like you've been using the backstitching to indicate where something is like raised or popped out from the background, and the markings aren't. Like, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just saying I'm not sure I feel like it would give the impression that the markings are like raised on Rathalos where they're not. Does that make sense? I dropped the red. Not sure where else to do them on Rathalos. I think if you did, I'd have to look. But I think maybe, what if you did along like the head horns, like the horns on his actual head, and then maybe like along the spines of his wings, I'm thinking. Yeah, or the claws, because he's got big claws too. Or like the little, if not like the full wing ribs, maybe just like the little, because he's got like those little spike claws at the end of his wing ribs too. Like those little triangular spikies. Ooh, or, hear me out. What if you outlined his eye in metallic? Because I think his eye is only like one stitch, right? Or is it 4? But yeah, I think if you did maybe like the head horns, maybe his front claws, and then like either the wing ribs or like the wing claws in the metallic, I think that would look really good, and it would be like balanced across the piece. Or I could be totally wrong and you could just totally do the markings the way you were planning. Because that would also probably look really cool. Ooh, or, because it's Rathalos, the spikes on the tail. Because Rathalos poisons you by smacking you with his tail, and it's the most annoying part of that damn fight. You could do the tail spikes in metallic, and that would be incredible. Actually, you should maybe do the tail spikes in, like, metallic purple. because of the poison. That would be amazing, actually. If you have a metallic purple. Ooh, that would be cool, Randus. The problem is, with the scale that we're working at, it's hard enough to get the monsters in that stitch scale, let alone a detailed weapon. I don't think we would be able to get the fine detail necessary to make it like recognizable as what it is. Also, Cara's already bought frames that are sized to just the monsters. It is a very neat idea, though. Now I'm second guessing myself. Rathalos also does poison you, right? Not just Rathian? Pretty sure Rathalos also poisons. Okay, I am wrong. I am slightly wrong. Rathalos poisons you with his claws. It's Rathian that poisons with her tail. But if you wanted to do metallic purple on the claws, because, like, the poison is the most annoying part of both of those fights. But yes, for Rathalos, it is the claws, not the tail. I'm glad I double-checked that, because I started doubting myself. Like, I know Rathian hits you with her tail. That said, you could still totally do the tail spikes in a metallic. And I think that would look really cool. This row and probably call it a day for stream, as we typically do. Making good progress, very close to being done. Don't know if I'll have time to finish it up during the week, so we may or may not be finishing this up during stream next week. Sasha is baby. All right, there we go. Row down. Perfect. So, I think we will call it there for the afternoon. Thank you very much, friends, for coming and hanging out with me, keeping me company while I work on this. I'm so close to being done. Thank you to everyone that's followed, everyone that's subscribed, everyone that is just here hanging out. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll be back at some point in the afternoon this week to do another randomizer stream. If you missed it, on Friday I was able to get the axe for Cara. So this week we should be back to doing a half and half stream, and she should be able to make at least a little bit of progress in Secret of Mana. So yeah, tune in for that. Otherwise, I should be back next Sunday with more of, well, maybe more of this. Definitely more of something. But yeah, until then, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, stay cool, take care of yourselves, hydrate. What is it that Cara says? Eat, hydrate, medicate. Take care of each other as much as you can. And I will see you all in the future. Eat the blanket.